So what we're going to do this week is we're going to go through all of my rods, what actions for what I use for each technique. And the cool thing is I know that people watching, some people may be on a budget where you can't buy 20 rods. Your wife won't let you spend that much money, and I understand that. You know, it takes me back to when I started fishing. I would get a rod that I could use for multiple techniques, like one I could use in the wintertime for this, and one I could use in the summertime for that. That way I didn't have to have a whole bunch. But for either or, if you're one or the other, we're going to go through all of these. We're going to start with the spinnerbait. Whenever we talk about these, physically, you need to do what's comfortable for you. Because if the rod's not comfortable, you're not going to fish as long. You know, you're going to be out there not having a good time. So make sure you have a comfortable rod. These rods are what work for me. Half-ounce spinnerbait and less, the head turner. It's 6'10", it's medium heavy, it's got a little bit of tip. It's an open hook, so you don't need a broomstick to get the hook in. Alternative uses, this is a great rod that I use. This is the rod I use in the wintertime for like finesse jig. You could use a topwater on it, like a spook or something like that. So this is a really, really good all-around rod. It's not just made for just a spinnerbait. Head turner, 3/4 and 1 ounce spinnerbait. This is the frog rod, 6'11". It's got a little more backbone to be able to chunk those 3/4 and 1 ounce baits. Alternative uses, obviously it's a frog rod. I use it for frogging. You could use it offshore for jig fishing, that kind of stuff. So we talked about the frog rod. That's what I use for frog. JC frog rod, 6'11". It's got some backbone to get them out. Most of the rods that I use are Caras. This is an exception. This is an expert. All right, this is 6'10". And if you notice, it is really, really soft. And the reason being is because it's braided line. You don't need a stiff rod, and it's treble hooks. So 6'10", expert. What does it say on it? Some of these are old. Topwater finesse. There you go. Swim jig. This is one of my favorite rods. 7'2" Falcon Cara swim jig rod. All right, that's what it's labeled as. This is a really good rod for a lot of things. Swim jig obviously being one. Plopper. I use it for a plopper. A hair jig out deep. Notice that most of those baits, all three of those baits, are open hook baits. Now the swim jig is not, but that's a really, really it's almost like an open hook. But it's 7'2". I use braid on all three of those lures, so it's got a soft tip. Buzz bait, that's another use for the swim jig rod. Same thing, same exact rod. Now we're going to talk about some flipping. JC 7'3". This is a rod, 90% of my flipping that I use, flipping bushes, flipping docks. Yeah, just straight flipping rod. Pretty stiff, got a little bit of tip that makes it easier to fish. Alternative uses, great big worm rod offshore. Like if I fish in brush piles or something like that, I'll use a 7'3". This is one that's pretty specific to the technique. I'm not a big glide guy. I'm getting into it. You can see the teeth marks on it. This is the big bait rod, 7'9". Not really a lot of alternative uses. I could see maybe punching with it or something like that. Pretty technique specific. The swim bait rod. God, my eyes are getting bad. 7'4". All right, Falcon Cara. Open hook again, soft tip. This is almost like the swim jig rod, except 2 inches longer. It gives me a little more heave to be able to get those baits out there. You could also use that as soft as it is for, you know, if you liked a little longer rod for buzz bait, things like that. Punching, 8-foot Super Duty, pretty specific to the technique, meaning that there's not a lot of alternative uses, but I mean, you gotta have a big rod. Cranking, another expert. This is 7/8. For years and years, I used a 7-foot cranking, and probably 10 years ago, they came out with the 7/8, and an extra 8 inches adds 20 to 25 feet on your cast. Like, you can throw it forever. And what I like about it is whenever it loads up, you know, you have a lot of rod to be able to fight that fish. Whenever you got a big giant plug, that plug's not even made anymore. This is an XD crank, or a Tennessee ledge, 8 foot. So we added 4 inches. It just gives me a little more leverage to throw that big bait and be able to get it down there. We only got 3 left. Don't leave me. Square bill rod, Falcon Cara all around. When I say square bill, like small crankbaits, Bandit, 100, 200, 300, anything, you know, out to 10 foot, I use the all around. The all around is also a good like finesse jig in the wintertime. Big worm, when I say big worm, like a big finesse, this is a 5/8 ounce head. Ouachita Special, Falcon Cara. This is actually not a really old rod, meaning we haven't had it for a lot of years. But this is, I like this when I'm punching too on that kind of smaller stuff, not the big mats, you know, kind of that stuff. It's not as hard to get them out. I feel like it doesn't wear me out. It's a little bit shorter than the Super D. Last but not least, the spinning rod. 7 foot, 4 power, Falcon Cara. I mean, from a minnow to a drop shot, to a Ned, to a hair jig, whatever. I really, I have 7 or 8 spinning rods. This is it. They're all open hook. I don't have one out, but if I was using a shaky head or something like that where I had to get through the worm, I would go to the 7.3 spinning rod. So if you notice, probably 75% of those rods I use for multiple techniques, so it's not like it's one for each technique, and I'm sure you guys will be able to do the same thing. So hopefully this helps, and I appreciate you riding along.